Now we have Dershowitz, Trump's lawyer and the Mossad lawyer, Pollard, Dancing Israelis, Epstein, Rubishkin, the Chabad Lubavitcher. So he had the famous quote the other day about plunging needles into our arms and saying that we don't have a constitutional right to not be vaccinated.
Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional right to endanger the public. You have no right not to be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right to open up your business.
And so here we'll play a little bit from that. He also says the Torah is justification for all of us to have mandatory vaccinations. Well, you can go ahead and shove that right where the sun don't shine. Dershowitz, Epstein's buddy.
Vaccine out in the future. So I want to read a quote from that interview, which is really what I want to focus on today. You essentially said when it came to vaccines, if you refuse to be vaccinated, the state has the power to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm. You then went on to say that I would like to see a government mandate, and if it is the safe vaccine is developed for COVID-19, I hope it's mandated, and I will defend it and will argue that in the Supreme Court of the United States. I just want to make sure I haven't misrepresented your statements in any way, have I?
No, that's absolutely accurate. It's a view I've held for 55 years. I wrote about it literally half a century ago. My view is very simple. You cannot be compelled to take a vaccine that's designed just to help you. If we develop a vaccine to prevent cancer or a heart attack, you have a choice. You have a right to die, you have a right to live, you have a right to take the vaccine or not. But if the vaccine is not intended to help you only, it's intended to prevent you from spreading the disease, the fatal, highly contagious disease to other people, then the state has the right to compel you to do it. The Supreme Court held that in 1905 in a case called Jacobson versus Massachusetts when the smallpox vaccine was at issue. And, you know, I grew up during the polio vaccine. I lost a friend who died.
So he doubles down. He says he'll argue it. And you don't have a right to not take whatever drug or be injected with whatever chemicals they want if they can argue and lobby to their revolving door of all the agencies that are supposed to regulate them and the politicians that the pharmaceutical companies buy off. They can justify injecting you with anything they want if they can just use the justification that, oh, it's for the greater good, you're protecting other people. You don't have the right. If you don't have the freedom over the sovereignty over your own body to not take private companies that are protected from lawsuits, I mean, this has got to be the red line. Mandatory vaccines has got to be the red line. And this, did you see his smile too when he read the quote? He's like, yeah, we're going to plunge him into your arm. He takes pleasure in it. Now I want to play, here's another segment from that debate or interview, I guess, and where he talks about Christians and Jews and Muslims shouldn't have religious exemptions because the Torah says, basically has rules about lepers. So you're trying to use your religion saying, oh, well, the Torah says it. So, I mean, you know, Noahide laws, why not? Let's all listen to the Torah.
Just by nature from the program.
Let me start by saying you should not be exempt. Religious people who have a religious objection should not be exempt for two reasons. First, the religious objection is nonsense. Christians, Jews, can have no religious objection. Look at the Bible, the Torah, the Old Testament, the Jewish Bible.
Hold on, we're making medical decisions and constitutional decisions on mandatory drugs being injected into people's bodies. Compulsory, mandatory, you can't live in America and participate in society without this mark of the beast injection. And he's going to use the justification of the Torah, 2,000-year-old plus book to justify it. It's just like how they use the Bible to justify slaughtering Palestinians and taking their promised land. Just absurd. Oh, I'm a constitutional lawyer and my justification is the Torah.
has chapter after chapter about how to deal with people with communicable diseases. It requires that you take lepers and put them outside of the wall. There's all kind of descriptions about how you know whether a person still continues to be contagious, and the concept of
Okay, so it says get rid of the sick, isolate, quarantine the sick people away. I don't think there's anything in the Torah about mandatory vaccinations, injections, and vaccines. I mean, let's not be ridiculous here.
choose life in the Bible, which is often quoted against abortion by Christians. But surely Christian theology, Jewish theology, Muslim theology, all the Mosaic religions, the Abrahamic religions, all support preferring life. So I wouldn't exempt anybody on.
Yeah, well, if you support life, have vaccines killed people before? Did the swine flu vaccine kill people? Do all these pharmaceutical drugs have terrible side effects? Like, are we living in the Twilight Zone? Like, what kind of world are we living in when, and this is like the leading intellectual constitutional lawyer, like hailed by the mainstream media. He's Trump's lawyer. He's the president's lawyer. He defended the president from impeachment. He's the president's right-hand man. This guy was on the stage with Trump when he signed the executive order banning criticism of a foreign country that bought off Trump and all the Republican and the Democrats.
Religious grounds any more than I would exempt people on religious grounds from other obligations under the law.
Oh, so now you want religious laws? I'm sure he'll fight for Jewish law. He'll fight for their laws if it's to their benefit. But then, the double standard. Double standard, by the way, Chabad.org is part of Judaism to have double standards. So we shouldn't be surprised here.